Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between SlayerS's BekHo versus GenX. Hopefully I did not butcher the name. I am also trying to get a little bit closer to my mic, as you guys have been saying that it's getting a little bit faint, so hopefully this sounds better. Here we have SlayerS's BekHo spawning as the red Terran player at the 6 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have GenX spawning as the blue Zerg. So yes, blue versus red, Terran versus Zerg here on Shattered Temple. I am looking forward to this game. If you guys couldn't tell by the overlay, this is part of patch 1.3.0. I don't know how easily I will be able to just try to bring up these mineral tabs for you and these really interesting nifty little doodads that Blizzard decided to program in. But they are very pretty. Drone now making its way out, will be scouting in the clockwise direction. An Overlord here quickly scouts out that there is a command center here, and BekHo does not position. Oh no, he is now finally moving out with this one SCV. He does spot out that Overlord there. A drone will be coming up his ramp to do a little bit of harassment if a barracks is trying to place on that front door. And no, BekHo now opting to go for the barracks on the low ground. So it is going to be a low ground racks, and I am interested to see what exactly he wants to do with this low ground racks here on Shattered Temple. A drone now making its way in from the north side of the map and will perhaps get some harassment onto that SCV. SCV, if it dances around, it may actually be able to avoid, but I think GenX may actually get some damage and perhaps even destroy Stevie the SCV here. That SCV not moving, and it may get taken down. Oh, barely able to pull away, and it looks like that drone wants some SCV blood. And now will that SCV even be able to repair? It doesn't look like it. And now in comes an army of units, and that drone doesn't want to find itself in a very difficult situation. And now the SCV is getting repaired, so it will not get taken down. Meanwhile, a double racks being built on the low ground. So it's going to be a very aggressive style of play here on Shattered Temple, a double racks on the low ground natural expansion. There is already an Overlord hiding in this position here. And one of the benefits of Shattered Temple for Terran is that there is no longer a place where Zerg can park an Overlord outside that cliff and be able to gain sight without you shooting it down. Instead, it has to hide off over here. It doesn't get nearly as much sighting or scout information as a drone now getting taken down. So one drone already getting shot down there as an Overlord and Queens are being trained. Let me just show that production tab. Now we do have a Queen and 6 Zerglings now being trained. 2 Marines and a supply depot, so we are going to get perhaps a little bit of an early rush. We may get a bunker being placed down here as a Zergling now trying to swarm after that SCV. SCV already taking some damage, and now the SCV desperately trying to run away. It looks as though there are going to be 2 SCVs and a Marine. This Marine needs to pull away as well, and now one fresh SCV just going to activate this Onaga Watchtower and continue along its merry way, making sure that there is not any expansion. So the Zerglings now going to capture the center and be able to reveal a large amount of site information. Back over here, command center is now on the low ground. There are Marines here, and the Marines are going to try to hold off a very large number of Zerglings. 6 Zerglings against 4 Marines, but the Marines are going to be able to perhaps get some damage onto those units before those Zerglings even come around the corner. And you can see 2 of those Zerglings already shot down, and now being forced to pull it off, and now a supply depot being built down as well. So this is just a supply depot for a token measure there, making it so that the Zerglings, if they want to even try to hit these group of Marines, will have to run all the way around, and it will be very difficult. You can see the SCV now building that supply depot instead. He is currently supply locked, so that does make sense, trying to build that supply depot there, unable to train up any additional Marines. Back over here, we now see an SCV wandering around. It looks like it will get scouted out as the swarm of Zerglings now going to come in from behind. Poor SCV doesn't stand a chance, and there it goes. So far no gas coming in from BekHo, so it's going to be a lot of Marines and Zergling battles at this stage. And GenX, seeing that there is no gas just quite yet, is now opting to go for Banelings, and Banelings are going to be able to deal a large amount of damage, especially if they are able to especially if they're able to hit those Marines. You can see a bunker now currently trying to be built as well. The supply depot is still up, and now as soon as this bunker is in position, what this is going to do is it's going to force Banelings to try to squeeze through this very narrow walkway. And now another command center being built as well. So BekHo now building his 3rd command center 6 minutes and 40 seconds into this game. Zerglings now have wings, so they will be able to move much more quickly across the map, as the bunker also taking a little bit more time, now taking 40 seconds. instead of, oh, one Marine trapped on the wrong side, we'll be able to jump into there, and now the Marines just fending off against all of those Zerglings. Banelings should be morphed in just a moment, but it is not really worth it to try to Baneling bust barracks. It takes a lot of damage in order to Baneling bust a barracks, and now there's a little bit of room right here. Not exactly sure what that's about, as those Marines are perhaps going to try to move out, hold position right there. And Banelings could easily just destroy that position and then destroy the rest of those units. So 4 Marines sitting over here, 5 Marines sitting there. Just they will be staying there for a little bit of time, as we are now getting the movement speed upgrade. So already at tier 2 by GenX. GenX now getting that movement speed upgrade on those Banelings, but he doesn't have creep tumors down. And if he had creep tumors down, even just getting an Overlord right here, perhaps getting a creep tumor down, and then start building the creep highway here, it would be able to allow those units to move even more quickly. We do see a tech lab now being built, as well as that Overseer trying to come in, and it doesn't look like that Overseer is going to be able to scout out very much. No, now coming around that far side, sees that there still is no gas at the natural expansion. There is gas in the main base, as what SCVs are building supply depots across the front, trying to make sure that they are not, that if there is any sort of Mutalisk play, that he does have an early warning system. There is also an Overseer here, and the Overseer scouting that additional orbital command now realizes that he's gonna have to destroy another set of destructible rocks in order to not fall behind in bases. 3 orbital commands, that means 3 mules. He's essentially running off of a lot of SCVs at this stage. He's probably going to be able to call down mules over here in just a moment, as well as he is also getting a bunker on this back door. So by using and by destroying these destructible rocks, he now has easy access into his base. Oh, a corruption onto the tech lab, trying to research Stimpack, adding an additional 30 seconds, I believe, onto what is already a very, very long increased research time. Level 1 weapons upgrade now being completed unit-wise. 49 drones versus 41 SCVs, but income-wise, you can see that the Terran player has such a large advantage because of those additional mules. Missile turrets now being placed down, and we should be seeing perhaps 2 to 3 missile turrets at each location to be able to fend off this attack, and this is a crazy, crazy macro battle so far. We are going to see a lot of units, 200 food population, probably in the next 5 to 8 minutes. And probably just within the next five real-time minutes, we will see up to 200 food population, as both of the units will be able to just start pumping out a lot of units off of the barracks. And now once again another corruption, so the Stimpack definitely getting delayed, and that is just brilliant use by GenX. GenX chaining those corruptions, delaying that very, very critical, very important Stimpack research, and now the total research time is going to probably push into 230 seconds, if not longer. An Overseer, however, pushed away because of missile turrets, and there is another missile turret here, so Mutalisks that try to fly in will quickly find themselves on the wrong end of longboat missiles, as the Mutalisks have now taken down this scout farm. Excuse me. Mutalisks now making short work of that one supply depot there. There is missile turrets nearby the mineral patches. We are not getting the auto tracking upgrade, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult to try to deal damage towards those Mutalisks, as another hatchery finally being placed down by GenX. GenX taking the time to set up another expansion, and we'll see how these players go. So both players running off of 3 bases now at this time. Decent saturation at all of the bases, as now a group of Mutalisks trying to fly in sees a group of Marines here. The Stimpack will finally be able to complete. And now what's going to happen? A lot of barracks here, and now Thors, no siege tanks being trained. Marines still wandering around, and those Mutalisks do not want to really try to engage anything at all. Production wise, you can see a lot of things being queued up by BekHo. Meanwhile, GenX getting air carapace upgrades, ground carapace upgrades, and the claw attack upgrades as well. Army wise, let's see who has the larger army. Army supply 50 versus 62, so it definitely has a larger army by GenX, as those Mutalisks once again trying to come in, and now another expansion being built at the 11 o'clock location. So both players playing very, very strong macro styles, and now barracks finally being lifted off, and it is going to try to move out. For some reason, the barracks, I thought they would be built along here, and then those units will try to push out. The barracks looking to actually reestablish themselves here, as there are now more barracks here. So this is going to be a lot of production buildings on the ground here. It's going to be 2 factories, 5 barracks, and now a starport with a reactor. No additional add-ons onto these barracks though, so we're not going to see any tech labs perhaps. No reactors now being built, so it's going to be able to double train a lot of Marines as the Mutalisk now going straight after that one bunker. The bunker dealing damage back. There are a couple of Marines. The Marines now trying to pull away. There are a couple of missile turrets, and the missile turrets offering a little bit of sanctuary from the air attacks of those glaive worms. These destructible rocks, I believe, will be falling shortly, as these Zerglings should be able to destroy them in just a moment, and then try to establish essentially what would be a 5th base. GenX still sitting on a very large economy, 64 drones compared to 71 for BekHo. So BekHo still has the stronger income at this time, mining at 2,000 minerals a minute and still getting 700 gas a second. The Mutalisk now simply coming in, trying to ignore all those missile turrets, and it looks like more damage is being dealt. More missile turrets are being placed down. You can see them being queued up and chained up. The Marines are upgraded 1-1, so they are able to deal more damage against those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks, however, do have the carapace upgrades, but I do not believe they have the weapons upgrade at all. Marines now transferring over. It looks like a decent group of medevacs will be moving out. Double starports, and now what? 5 Raxes, 2 factories, and 2 starports, 1 with the reactor, 1 with the tech lab. So Ravens and Banshees are still not out of the picture just quite yet. Level 2 weapons upgrade, and now level 2 armor upgrade is being started, and level 2 weapons upgrade on the vehicles. So we are going to be getting Thors in just a moment as well. Those Thors are going to be able to push through, and this is the problem with Terran at this stage. He needs to be able to move out, but he is such a turtling Terran right now. I'm not sure how much damage he can really afford to do. There is one Thor over here as the Mutalisk just continue to wander around the map, perhaps trying to push some damage, and now missile turrets getting off 1 round of attack there, and now finally moving out the medevacs, getting a little bit too far ahead. Same with those siege tanks. They need to back off, and there is a Thor there, and now what, a siege tank also needs to be dropped out of that medevac there, and now in come the Mutalisk. Mutalisk gonna be able to finish that off. Marines now trying to make their way over siege tanks, and more units are trying to battle it out here, and we need to see a Raven in order to clean up these creep tumors. Otherwise, the Banelings will be able to roll just way too quickly with a movement speed faster than a Marine. You can see the siege tanks perhaps should start sieging up in just a moment, and here comes the swarm. Banelings are coming in from behind. Marines are trying to pull away. Siege tanks are blasting away. Mutalisk coming in as well, and both sides just melting at the size of their armies. There are still a lot of Marines, and the Mutalisks are now in the air and just trying to offer some support, and the Marines got separated from their medevacs. It looks like the Marines are going to be able to get some damage across those Mutalisks, but there's not enough Marines in order to fend off that attack. One last Marine trying to run away. A new swarm of Marines coming in, getting some more damage, and able to save a very low hit point medevac from destruction. There is a Marine not even activating that Xel'Naga watchtower in the center. Taking a look at the losses, both sides lost about 7,000 resources in that battle army-wise. There you can take a look at the army supply versus the worker supply on both sides. And now, what is currently in production? Mutalisk once again going to charge back in. You can see 13 Mutalisk and 12 Banelings with Queens and a lot of Zerglings. So this is going to be Mutalisk, Zergling, Baneling against Siege Tank, Thor, Marines. And now, as these sets of destructible rocks are going to get destroyed, another command center will be able to upgrade here in just a moment. Siege Tanks are upgraded 2-0, and I still don't see any Thors yet. We are getting the level 2 carapace upgrade, so those Mutalisks are going to be able to take a beating from those Marines. Marines are starting the level 3 upgrades on both the weapons attack and on the vehicle weapons upgrade attack. So these destructible rocks will fall in just a moment. SCV also repairing some of those medevacs in the air. Production-wise, still a lot of units being pumped up and queued out of, what, 5 Raxes at this time. So a lot to be had and a lot to be produced at this stage in the game. Both players sitting on large amounts of minerals and a decent amount of food. And at some point, both of these players want to start trying to trade armies and trying to be more efficient than their opponent. There are 3 Marines just hanging around right there. And now I believe they're going to get shot. Oh no, not going to get shot, and now mingling with that army very, very well. And oh, actually finally able to spot all 3 and take them down. Marines now trying to stim away, trying to pull back, and siege tanks just melting multiple of those Zerglings. Banelings now trying to come in as well. The Banelings just dying to those siege tanks, and now those Mutalisks are in trouble, and the losses quickly mounting up for GenX as those Marines are once again on the move. There is a Raven in the air now revealing all of this as the Banelings are going to be coming in and being able to melt this entire army. And now pushing out a little bit too far away from those siege tanks. More Marines now coming in once again. The Marines now trying to just shoot down multiple Mutalisks, but it's not going to work out at all. And this siege tank will be lost. And now GenX evening up the losses almost so far, as this siege tank will get destroyed. As soon as that siege tank is destroyed, yeah, and the numbers are getting closer and closer together. Army-wise, 2100 versus 2150. Those Mutalisks looking to find even more and more targets. Those Mutalisks not getting any weapons upgrade yet, as we are now going into Ultralisk. Ultralisk just are going to be able to barrel their way through those siege tanks. If they spend too much time trying to focus down and take down an Ultralisk, those Banelings will be able to find and reach their target destination. The Banelings already dealing 43 damage in attack. I think another upgrade on their claw attack, which is now being started, and it will be able to instantly kill a Marine after it has stimmed. These Marines are currently upgraded 3-2 against what I believe are going to be 3-2 Zerglings and Banelings. The Ultralisk does not have the additional, not getting the additional Carapace upgrades or the harden upgrades for those Ultralisks just quite yet. Both sides now trying to swarm. The Mutalisks trying to push in along here. There are simply too many missile turrets. Those missile turrets are going to get a lot of damage across those Mutalisks before the Mutalisks are able to fight back. And the Marines getting off one shot in the back of those Mutalisks and now getting taken down once more. There are a couple of siege tanks here, and now the Mutalisks now coming in, but the Marines, cannot say the unit that I want to say. Marines getting underneath those Mutalisks and able to shoot them down out of the sky. We are getting also the Terran building armor. So the Planetary Fortress will have level 5 armor, and that is a very, very large amount of armor. As the Marines now continue to move out, you can see that no expansion has been placed here just quite yet, as the Mutalisks are going to simply come in here and finish off the rest of these Marines. It doesn't look like they want to engage, and now here comes the battle. Marines are battling it out, siege tanks battling it, and now the Ultralisks are pouring their way in. The siege tanks are blasting away, and now the Marines trying to get some damage onto those Mutalisks. As those Ultralisks are just continuing to chomp away. How much damage can be dealt? The siege tanks the Mutalisks are now in the air, and with so many Mutalisks and no Marines nearby, all of these siege tanks need to run. It looks like multiple siege tanks will be falling in just a moment. There is a missile turret nearby, and I believe another auto turret also coming in as well in order to offer a little bit of protection. 2950 versus 2200. More missile turrets getting some free shots on Mutalisks, and GenX losing some unnecessary units in that battle. Unit-wise, you can see 72 SCVs, 28 Marines, 7 siege tanks against 22 Mutalisks and 46 Zerglings with 5 Queens. So that production is going to be very, very difficult to stop. GenX now battling it out against those groups of Marines. Those Marines will fall in just a moment, as drones now being transferred to the 12 o'clock starting location. And level 3 Carapace upgrades about to be completed. Same thing with the claw attack. More Ultralisks, more Mutalisks being added. And GenX just on a roll so far. It looks like he will be able to get more and more damage. Perhaps shut down this command center before it even has the time to see or mine any minerals. There is also a very low hit point Raven. Ravens are such an expensive unit that you do not want to have them move out too far by themselves. Missile turrets are also being placed down as well. And BekHo also has a lot more minerals and a lot more gas that he can dump. Now getting the Corvid reactor and Terran vehicle plating. So this is a lot of upgrades that you do not normally see a Terran player going for. I think the only thing that hasn't been upgraded is the auto track and then the additional 2 spots in a bunker. As those two are, the auto track may actually be worth it, but the additional 2 spots in a bunker, not really so much. You can see a Raven now just continuing to wander. It will be able to shoot down the rest of a couple of these creep tumors. A very strong creep highway has been established as the Mutalisks now trying to come in. It looks like there are, what, 2 Thors nearby, or 1 Thor, and oh, the Raven gonna get quickly shot down there. The Thor able to get off 1 round of missiles, and that is it, as a scanner sweep now cleaning up the rest of these creep tumors. And now this is gonna be very, very bad, as Zerglings are gonna be able to simply swarm their target. Needs to just focus down. Oh, very nice, getting a nice round of Javelin missiles into those Mutalisks. Even though it didn't take down that many, it did turn this a relatively green ball of mutas into orange. Siege tanks now on the move. Only 1 only one Thor in that front portion of that group. I do not see any additional Thor, so yeah, that's going to be a very this army is going to be very vulnerable in just a second if those Mutalisks try to come in. And now the Mutalisks are separated over here. The battle is going to ensue. Marines now trying to pull away. The Marines are going to run straight into the Mutalisks in the back. Ultralisks now pouring their way in. Mutalisks finishing off, and a perfect flank by GenX. It looks like the Mutalisks are going to have still some Marines to deal with. Oh, and the Thor is still in there. So the Thor are able to shoo away. And now, wow, just by miscalculating the fact that there was still a Thor GenX now with a smaller army, down to 750, but he is producing 56 or 50 Zerglings or so, and 7 Ultralisks, getting the Katonis plating on those Ultralisks as well. So those Ultralisks will be able to just barrel their way out and just take essentially no real serious damage from those Marines. A lot of Overlords by GenX. GenX could probably space them out and then still survive. And now we can see every upgrade under the sun now being researched. Seeker missiles now being researched. I am still looking for a high-level game that is away from beta that has Seeker missiles. So hopefully if BekHo is able to get off 2 Seeker missiles against a swarm of mutas, that would be a lovely, lovely sight. Siege tanks are low on hit points down here on the low ground. Perhaps some SCVs will be able to come by and offer some additional health training, or sorry, repairing, as the Marines are now dropping down in order to shut down some of those Mutalisks. The Mutalisks, however, able to survive, and now what, 5 or 8 Marines now on the move, running straight into a group, and the Banelings simply melting that army. The Banelings didn't even need to melt, but the damage was dealt, and now in comes another drop over here. The Queen was able to snipe that down, and now, oh, now gonna go after, so Key Tech now taking on the Ultralisk Cavern. The Ultralisk Cavern already down to, oh, a transfusion to try to save it. Multiple transfusions to try to save this Ultralisk Cavern, and beautifully done. So that Queen dumping all of her energy into an Ultralisk Cavern to save that critical tech. And now Ultralisk will still be able to come out and play. Level 1 ship upgrades now being started. So yeah, level 1 ship upgrades and level 3 vehicle upgrades have been completed. Another round of missiles now simply moving into the group of those Mutalisks once again. Marines now coming in as well. Marines getting some damage across those Mutalisks. Mutalisks being forced to fly away. And now GenX is slowly starting to lose more and more resources. Income-wise, though, he is slightly ahead. Just ever so much. Well, actually, no, a very large ahead right now. That number keeps on jumping. I cannot tell those mules. And now, as BekHo does no longer has any minerals to mine off of this gold mineral patch, he needs to perhaps try to transfer into this location, already setting up the proper missile turrets here. And now every mineral patch on this map may get depleted. This is the last set of unmined minerals anywhere, and you can see that there is decent saturation here. No more minerals here. 3 more mineral patches at the starting expansion as the Marines now move out, gonna try to run away from those units. Ultralisk coming in as well. The Banelings just simply gonna roll in and now melt all of those Marines. You can see how much damage was done, and down they go. 5,500 versus 5,375 at this stage. Still a lot of damage to be had. Just a sea of Overlords hiding out over here, and just a flying farm system from Zerg able to catch sight. But this is an east versus west battle now. Multiple missile turrets are in play. The missile turrets are going to start just firing randomly at those Mutalisks, and I believe that auto tracking would have added perhaps a 1 or 2 killed Mutalisks into that battle. And I don't understand why auto tracking is not researched. With the number of missile turrets and planetary fortresses in play, it does make sense. And yes, no, I am not done. And anyways, Ravens are in the air. The Ravens do have enough energy, or some of them are getting energy. For that Seeker missile. Siege tanks blasting away at those front units. And now, oh, some SCVs were able to come by and start repairing over here. You can see a lot of missile turrets. And now also sensor towers being placed down. So an early warning system just in case any units do try to pop out. More Ravens and Vikings now being added to this group. So the Ravens are going to start to be able to trade. Energy for damage, and that is one of the things that you have to be very critical of in the late game when so many of the resources are starting to be mined out like they are currently. And when you can trade energy for destruction, that always helps out. You can see 6,000, 7,000 minerals that GenX is currently sitting on, and both sides do not want to engage. Level 2 missile attacks now for those Mutalisks, and now Broodlords are in the air as well. So those Broodlords with 3 armor, Vikings now moving out to try to deal some damage towards those Broodlords. Marines now coming in, and the Marines are going to have a very difficult time, and now the Vikings able to finish out some of those units. Both sides battling it out. Are we going to get some auto turrets or some Ravens? Oh, Seeker missiles now being just launched at those units there. And now so much damage has been dealt. Marines now trying to come over. Siege tanks blasting away. Are we going to get any more Seeker missiles? No, not possible, as auto turrets should perhaps be dropped. Vikings able to finish off that. And now SlayerS and BekHo is doing a great job. His army significantly larger, but you can see at 199 over 200, the production, 12 Ultralisk, and a whole bunch of Zerglings to be coming out in just a moment. So we are going to have a lot of units just dumped out in a second. You can see Vikings now on the hunt for more Overlords, shooting them out of the sky. Not that many anti-air units to be had or found at this stage. And what's going to happen? We probably need to see some Infestors with Fungal Growth. Fungal Growth dealing a lot of damage and also able to stun Marines and siege tanks, stop them from moving at all. 5 Vikings completely shutting down all of those Broodlords, but now a new round of Ultralisk coming out. 47 damage per attack. If they're able to start slicing through many of those siege tanks, that will help out army-wise. 200 unit-wise, 13 siege tanks, a whole bunch of Marines, and those 6 Ravens that we were talking about. And in come the Ultralisk once more. The Ultralisk are starting to swarm. Marines are now trying to get into position. Are we going to get some more Seeker missiles? I do not see any. Oh, there are a couple now just being launched left and right as the Ultralisk are just continuing to push in. Siege tanks perhaps should be out of siege mode. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to get that much damage in, but it looks as though those Ultralisks are going to be able to continue to just push through here, get a lot of damage. Down goes another group of units there, as those Ultralisks are now going after some of these units here. Those Ultralisks now need to pull away, though, as that planetary fortress would be very, very difficult to take down, and those Ultralisks now running all the way home. 12 additional Ultralisks now being trained up, and a lot of Zerglings are being added to this army. So as soon as those 12 Ultralisks are out, you better believe that we are going to get another swarm. So this is a war of attrition. Who can build their army up faster? And the Ravens, with that Seeker missile, have just been absolutely huge. If they are able to get off a Seeker missile onto those Ultralisks and perhaps get some slash damage, that would just help out tremendously. The Ravens looking for their target, knowing that there are no Mutalisks in the air, so these Ravens can just pretty much go unchallenged. And now here we go. Are we going to get some Seeker missiles? Yeah, the Seeker missiles are moving out, but the Ultralisks do move relatively quickly. So the damage is going to start to be dealt, and we have Marines and Thors in position. Marines trying to battle it out, and it looks like, oh, just running out of gas there. Marines now trying to hold off against a very large group of Ultralisks. The Ultralisks are just choking up on themselves right now, trying to barrel their way in. The Marines are trying to split themselves up even further, and the Ultralisks getting eaten alive by these siege tanks. And GenX, I thought he would have perhaps been able to survive that attack just because he did not absorb that much damage from those those Seeker missiles at the very end. But it doesn't matter, as those siege tanks were able to blast away. Army-wise, you can see now that GenX is no longer sitting at 200 over 200 food and is now out of minerals. So he's not going to be able to dump into resources nearly as much. There are still drones mining off of this location here. And now mules starting to be mined off of this location. So what that's going to do is that's going to just steal some of those minerals and then be lost on Shadow Temple. So just a quick stealing of 30 minerals there, and then just trying to do that repeatedly in order to shut your opponent out of any minerals at this stage. GenX, his economy is very, very slow, or is now starting to get slowed down to 1600 compared to BekHo's 1500, so both sides are very slow. Every mineral patch may actually mine out if this game goes long enough. as mass ravens in the air, and those ravens looking to deal some damage, and oh goodness, so much damage to be had across multiple units. And now those ultralists, knowing that they need to push out, they cannot dilly-daddle, otherwise the ravens are just going to continue to move and continue to just drop multiple seeker missiles back and forth. Vikings are still in the air. Marines now need to get some distance away from those units over there, and now the siege tanks joining in on the battle, and ultralists are just simply melting away. Army-wise, 6,000 versus 5,550. 200 food count versus 200 food count. Zerglings are inside the base, but I believe this is the beginning of the end. Not much that BekHo can really do. And yeah, not much that GenX can really do. BekHo has a really strong stranglehold on the game right now, sitting at almost 3,000 minerals production, getting more medevacs, getting more ravens. Corruptors are being trained, but with the Vikings that are in the air, not much is going to really happen. The 12 ravens now just moving out, perhaps getting some more damage. If they can start launching seeker missiles at drones, that would be yeah, there you go, getting seeker missiles and at multiple drones, and just continuing to drop drones left and right. And that's always a very dangerous tactic, as those multiple units are just getting killed left and right. A corruptor now giving chase to those units, and I want to see how many kills. I've never seen actually a raven with 16 kills on a raven. Yeah, you gotta believe that raven has done its job. So yeah, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between BekHo and GenX here on Shadow Temple. Wow, a 31-minute game here on Shadow Temple, every mineral patch, and ultimately mass ravens at the end of this game. So yeah, I am very happy. There's a grin on my face that definitely deserves the GG! Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.